Hey, I'm really psyched about tonight's show, but let me nip it in the bud with a big disclaimer. Every now and then I guess the only word you could say is hankerings. I'm like, I just want that, I want to make that, I want to learn how to do that, and I don't know where it came from. Maybe I saw something on the tube. I don't have a definite impetus for it, but all of a sudden about a week ago I was like, I want ramen. I'm making ramen. Now, here's the disclaimer. This is in no way, shape, or form going to be authentic Japanese ramen. I've never been to Japan. I had a golden opportunity when I was in college. My mentor professor, the great Japanese artist Yoshiharu Iga, tried to get me to go. And in my dumb 23-year-old ignorance, I blew it off. And realized years later he was hooking me up big time with accommodations. His brother was supposed to pick me up in Okinawa. Anyway, missed that opportunity. I did play music several years ago at Gomen Kudasai in Newport, and she made some pretty good homemade noodle balls. So I have tasted, I'll say, the real thing. But this is going to be in no way authentic, so don't come with the hate, don't come with the comments. Let's call it a bowl of noodle soup, maybe ramen inspired, okay? But I did do a little Googling, a little reading, and what I learned is it's mostly about the broth. I've always said that about risotto. It's all about the stock, okay? So similar thing. So I made this 3-day broth in the crock pot. Started with a light chicken stock that I always have in my freezer for risotto, soups, and everything. I make that regularly. So I started with the chicken stock as a base. I used more chicken drumsticks. I boiled them in that. Then Beeps got the meat, and then I roast the bones and put the bones back for the 3 days. Pork neck bones, same thing. I had 4 of them, I think. 2 went right in the stock. 2 I roasted. I put a tomato, Goldie tomato, right out of the garden. Scallions, onion, carrot. I put a sliver of zucchini, and then I put it in the crock pot for 3 days. I didn't film any of this. It's not the prettiest sight. You'll see it over here, the finished product, and we'll talk about it a little. But man, when I tasted that, I was like, oh, so that's what the deal is. I never cooked a stock that long in my life. I've made all day stocks, even overnight. But 3 days, pulling all that collagen, marrow, just, it's unbelievable. So let's head over to the board and I'll show you what I'm using in my ramen inspired noodle soup. Inauthentic. Come on, let's do it.
Come on, let's do it.
Okay, let's talk about what we have here for this experiment. Here's that stock. This is by no means consomme. What I mean by that is this is not going to be a light, clear stock. It's got particulate matter in it. It was strained. It was strained through a fine strainer. But after 3 days of cooking, you would not believe the flavor on this thing. And we're going to flavor it a little more when we make our soup. For protein, and of course the noodles. Ramen, by definition, means noodle. It's a noodle soup. Well, everything else doesn't really matter, but these 2 things technically would make a bowl of ramen. And these are not from Japan. They're a nice organic noodle. They're actually made in Australia, but they are organic. 4 ingredients: organic wheat flour, salt, water, and some organic mineral salts. That's it. A little kombu, right? The sea kelp that you use to make dashi with. And we're going to use this just to flavor up the broth a little bit before we serve. And for my protein, you know, ramen can use chicken, duck, pork. I'm going with shrimp tonight. So I have 3 of these Gulf shrimp. And what I did is I halved them. I cleaned them and halved them. And I also have their shells in here. I'll show you what we're going to do with those at the stove, all right? Little scallion. I cut it 2 ways. Some rings and some sort of shoots. I had a little chili on the counter from the garden. It's not super hot, but it's got a nice little bite to it, mostly for texture and flavor. I had a little piece of a zucchini. So I cut that into little sort of like ribbons. And one of my favorite things about a bowl of ramen on top, a boiled egg. And let's hope I did this right. And I'm actually very happy about how cleanly this one peeled. A little of the albumin came off there. But the newer the egg, you know, old eggs are easy to peel. This was laid today. I took that out of the nesting box when I got home. And I'm looking for that not soft boiled, not hard boiled, somewhere in the middle jamminess. For flavoring, I'm going to go with a little sesame oil. I think I may just put it's Korean, it's not Japanese, but I may use a little bit of the, not Korean, it's Thai. A little bit of curry paste, just a teaspoon or so when we blast those shrimp in a pan. A little bit of lime juice, and I don't have it out, but I'll get it. I think I'm going to finish with a little dollop of hoisin sauce to get a little sweetness in there. Okay? So I'm just playing, not going for anything authentic here. Don't give me any grief about cultural appropriation. I'm home cooking, I'm home eating. I can do what the hell I want. All right, let's head over to the stove. Come on, let's do it.
Come on, let's do it.
I put the broth on the back burner. Let's get a flame under it. And as it warms up, I'm going to put in the kombu. I rinsed it in cold water, and I'm going to put in the shrimp shells. All right, the idea here is that broth is so rich with 3 days of flavor already. It's got the umami of pork neck bones, chicken meat, pork. But since we're having a shrimp ramen, I want to introduce a little of the sea flavor to it. So the kombu, the sea kelp, and the shrimp shells. And what we'll do is we'll just heat that up with them and then take them out before we're ready to drop our noodles and do everything else. So that's the back burner coming up to a simmer. Let's come down to the front. And on the front burner, I've got my trusty old 40 years, my omelet pan. I catch a lot of grief about it. Heavily wok seasoned from years of use. I wouldn't trade that pan for anything. I'm actually in the market for a new cookware set, but that's not going anywhere. And sometimes I forget things when I'm over at the board with you guys. And I forgot, of course, some garlic and fresh ginger. So let me go off camera, prep up a little bit of this, and I'll be back in a jiffy. Now, while the broth's coming up to simmer, let's do a quickie on our shrimp. I dried them off, a little paper towel, and I am going to start with, well, again, I told you this is not traditional, it's not Japanese. I cleaned out my olive oil jars. When I get to the end of an olive oil, I turn the jars upside down. So there's literally not even a half a teaspoon there. What I'm really going to use is this pure sesame oil. Okay, a little bit of that, but it can float on the olive oil. This is a powerful, powerful flavor, so I'm just going with a few drops. It's got that sort of like dash, Angostura Bitters dash top, so you don't need much. Yeah, it's potent. So let's drop our garlic and ginger, chopped it up together. Oh, what an aroma with the sesame oil. Let's go in with the shrimp. Rinse my spoon because I want to go into this jar with a little bit of the Thai green curry paste. And the reason I'm using this is because I have it. You know, these are the type of things, I bought it for a recipe. And then you find it 8 months later sitting in your fridge. No. I use them. This is a total improv. Authenticity out the window. And let's go with a little lime. I also thought I had some sesame seeds and I couldn't find them, so that might be something I need. Okay, so what do we have? Just a dash of olive oil, a little toasted sesame oil, garlic, ginger, our Gulf shrimp, and a little green curry paste. Can't beat that. All right, they don't take long because I cut them in half. Those are cooked. So I'm going to put the entire pan on the marble. This way it'll hold the heat. And now that we're done with our burner, let's shut it off. Move the broth forward. And let's see how warm it is, if it's coming up to temp. Oh yeah, it's getting warm. And the shrimp shells and kombu have already added a nice flavor. So let's get those out. So we are almost up to the boil. Let me grab the noodles. I may even blanch off the zucchini instead of putting it in raw, you know? Let me do it like this. Take our zucchini, put it in this little strainer. It only needs 30 seconds to a minute while that comes up to boiling temp for the noodles. That's all. I want them on almost raw, but we'll flavor them a little with the broth. So let's set those aside with the shrimp. And actually, I'm going to put the noodles in here. What's the Japanese word for al dente? Now, one thing I did realize after the fact, I got so excited for this, I don't own a ramen bowl. So I'm going to go with this, closest thing I have. Have no fear. I've been online looking already. I'll get myself a nice set. I don't know how I got obsessed with this. I must have seen a picture somewhere. I don't know what. It's the only thing I can figure. Let's get our noodles in here. I'm going to build it right in this bowl and then go in with the amount of broth to top it off, okay? So let's bring this over to the board and build our bowl. Come on, let's do it.
Come on, let's do it.
Nice bowl of noodles, cooked in that rich broth. Let's start with the zucchini. Right, I blanched it off. Let's put it off to the side here. Nice and fresh, right out of the garden. Could have put it in raw for the crunch. But we'll have the scallions and whatnot. Let's take our shrimp. And what the heck, quality control. I'm going to try one right here. Oh yeah, I think the green chili curry paste was a beautiful idea. So, that being the case, let's broth her up. Yeah, I've got a whole nother serving right there. Holiday weekend coming up. Now, here's what I always love about a good bowl of ramen. Let's see how I did. The moment of truth. Take my sharp, thin knife here. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. That's what I'm talking about right there. The jammy egg. Let's go right here. And now let's top it off with our peppers and scallion. Wish I had those sesame seeds. But again, this is my first playtime. I haven't even gotten started yet. Let's give it a go, see where we're at. All right, it's an absolute must-do. I've got to start with the noodles. Oh yeah. You know what I forgot? Pardon my reach. Gonna go in with a few drops of soy. And there's so much nice spice and heat going on. A little bit of the hoisin, sweet plum sauce. Now let's give it a go. Try one of those shrimp. There you go. Hoisin, show you. This is a treat. Wow. Incredible. May not be the most authentic dish on the planet, but look how hard I'm complaining. Try this broth. And, in my opinion, one of these perfectly cooked eggs. This is a rockin' meal all in itself. I've never done it before. I'm pumped on learning. Much ramen ahead. And like I said, I got it in my, I got it in my drawers. I just had to do this. It's still hot. It's still muggy. A storm passed. I turned off an air conditioner to do this. This is for like going into the fall and into the winter. And that's why I wanted to start now, practice up, get some chops. I'm online, gonna get myself a nice set of 4 beautiful ramen balls, get some new chopsticks. This way we'll have a fall patio, little ramen festival. Catch you for the next episode.
Come on, let's do it.
Okay, if you watch the show on a regular basis, you know that after that last logo jingle bit, I like to often put a little blooper from the footage. But today's a little different. I want to do an addendum here because it's now, I did that on, what was it, Tuesday night? It's now the weekend. It's the holiday weekend. I enjoyed the second bowl. I did forget something crucial. One of the reasons I even wanted to do that is I had these shiitakes, beautiful shiitake mushrooms. We used some of them in the last episode, but I wanted to put those in the soup and I totally forgot. So I did it in the second run. But here's the thing. I kept saying this is not authentic, this is not authentic. I'm just trying to learn how to do it. That might be Bill. We got a rehearsal today. So let me wrap up. But when I was cooking that broth, I put it on my social media, a picture of it, and a chef chimed in who used to own a restaurant that I played music at. And he chimed in with a picture that said, get this book. So I got this book, because if he says get a cookbook, I got it the next day. I think I ordered it that day. Ivan Ramen, what a fantastic story. I got to get down to his place in New York now. I was hanging on every word before I even got to the food. So here's what I'm learning, and here's what I already learned. My ramen wasn't ramen. It was an amazing soup. I don't regret doing that, but it wasn't even close to an actual authentic bowl of ramen. However, it got me going. I'm pumped. It was absolutely delicious. And now, with the help of this book, we're going to go into the fall and winter in a ramen frenzy. Can't wait to learn. Thank you, Chef.